Right, greetings everyone. This is going to be a relatively short video covering audio in Powtoon. It's pretty straightforward. There's really only a couple of options for kinds of things that you add in audio-wise and for how they get added into the project and what you can do to manipulate them. So I'm just going to go through that, and that'll give you a chance, if you have not had an opportunity already, to do a little exploration of adding sound and voiceovers to your Powtoons. So what you see on screen, this is the Powtoon I've been using just to kind of throw things in there. You might recognize it from last week's class. We got through how to add items onto the desktop, onto a slide. We talked about how to get those items to move and to do things. One thing I would like to point out from the beginning, which I've just noticed, and I got a little pop-up when I logged in the other day, they have made a couple of little changes to Powtoon already. Over in the sidebar, they've now separated out images and videos as two separate categories. Before, I think they called it media or something like that. Now it's two separate categories. It doesn't really change how they work, but I guess they were getting enough in their libraries between images and videos that they wanted to separate those out. And I did also notice, I brought up in class last week that issue I was having where all of my objects were bunching up in the top left-hand corner and then dropping out onto the slide when they got there. That seems to have gone away. And so I don't know if with the separating out, if they rolled out some sort of an update, but that issue doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Now things seem to be only appearing when they're supposed to. So hopefully that issue was fixed. And for some of you that were having other issues regarding Powtoon, I know we had brought up the idea of using Chrome, and I have verified that kind of officially from Powtoon, their official stance is really Chrome is the browser that you want to be using because it is the most trouble-free. So if you were having issues with Powtoon and you weren't using Chrome, you might find that by switching to Chrome, some of those issues go away. But please let me know if you continue to have issues with anything else. All right, so the new topic is sound. Sound is one of the categories on the right-hand sidebar, so you can access sound from there. I generally get into sound by going down here in the bottom right-hand corner to the little speaker icon. And what that icon does is bring up the sound control panel. Get rid of that one. If you have not added any sound into your Powtoon, when the control panel shows up, you're going to have three places where you can add content in. Two of them are for voiceovers, one for the current slide, one for the entire Powtoon, and then there's an additional option to add music. Music, from their perspective, will only get added to the entire Powtoon. So let me start with that. So if I come here and click Add Music, if you're not, it will take you right to the sound category for the stuff. And there will then be all of these categories for music. They've got them grouped by, I guess, sort of by style or genre. So maybe I'm feeling acoustic today, so I'll go into acoustic. So these are options that they've provided for you. You can preview any of them by simply clicking on the button next to it. So you find one that you like. They give you the length for each one. Now, the way that the music works when you add it to that track, if the music is longer than your entire slideshow, it will simply fade out the music 1 second before the end of your slideshow. If your slideshow is longer than the music, then it will simply loop the music until it covers your entire slideshow, your entire Powtoon, and then we'll do the final fade out at the end. So you don't need to really worry about how long a given piece of music is. If it's added in as music for the entire show, it will loop it if it needs to, or it will trim it automatically. So you don't need to do any of that. So I kind of like that first one. So I'm going to add that one. So I simply click the Use button. Now down in the sound control panel, that audio now shows up in the slot that was for music. Once it's in there, you have a couple of things you can do to it. You can swap it out, just like you can with all of our other objects. So if you decide you don't like this piece, you can click the swap, select a different piece, and it will swap it in there for you. If you want to just get rid of the music, you can clear it. And then you also have a volume control. And this is something we'll talk out a little bit more detail about next week when we're all together. But one critical thing about music is to make sure that it is not louder than your voiceovers if you're using a voiceover. If there's no voiceover, the music can probably stay pretty much at full volume. But music can very easily get in the way of understanding when it comes to speech. So if you're going to use music and speech at the same time, really listen carefully, and if anything, err on the side of making your music quieter than you think it needs to be. All right, so I've added that piece in there. So now if I preview my slide, that music now appears underneath there. And if it were to go into the next slide, that music would continue to play and play out until the end of my show. All right, the other options are voiceovers. You can add a voiceover for the entire Powtoon. You can add a voiceover for a current slide. The reason to choose one over the other really just boils down to how you've segmented your topic. If you make a one voiceover for the entire Powtoon, it will essentially lock you in to the timing of all of your elements. Slides will have to be a certain length so that each slide comes up at the appropriate time with the voiceover. If you've got things moving around on the screen, they will need to be timed out to the voiceover. So one trick is if you're going to use an entire Powtoon voiceover, record it first, so that then when you're adding things in and timing things, you're timing them out to that voiceover. The other option is to do voiceovers just for the slide. That will result in a more segmented voiceover, so it won't maybe sound as smooth and as continuous in the end. However, it does leave you with more control over the pacing of things. If you decide that you need to add more time in on a given slide, you don't have to go back and re-record the whole voiceover. So it'll give you a chance to have a little bit more control, but the trade-off is that the voiceover will not be as continuous or maybe as smooth if you want it to be that. But the choice is really up to you. The voiceover itself is really done the same way. I'm going to do a voiceover just for this current slide so you can see how that works. I click Add Voiceover, and then it brings up some choices for you. You can record right into Powtoon, and that's what I'm going to do here now. Or you can upload an existing audio file. So if you prefer to use Audacity, or you have an existing voiceover file that you want to use, you can upload it, or you can pull it in from Dropbox or from Google Drive and get it into your Powtoon that way. But that would be only if you've created the file already. Voice Bunny and Watch It are both professional services where you can actually give them a script and they will have professional voice artists and engineers create your audio for you. I've never done that, but if anybody's ever tried that out, I'd be interested to see how that works. I'm sure that you have to pay for that. But in the end, if you're really interested in getting a professional studio result, that might be one way to go about it. All right, so if I want to create it right here, I'm going to go to the record button. It has a little recording studio built in. It will just use your microphone that's built into your computer. When I click on that, it pulls up a voiceover interface. You can at this point even decide if it's going to be just for the current slide or the entire Powtoon. If you're doing it on the current slide, you are limited to 20 seconds. If you're doing it for the entire Powtoon, there is no time length on it. So I'm going to keep it on the current slide. And then you've got your Start Recording button. You press that, it will give you a little countdown, and then you simply record. Hi, this is me. I'm working on my computer, and I really hope that giant Pac-Man doesn't come and bite my head off. Just making it up. Once you've created it, you can listen to it, so you can decide before you've saved it if it's right or not, if it sounds correct, if you want to go back and re-record it. You can delete it if you've decided it's not good enough. Just delete it right now. If you're going to use it, you have to save it. And by saving it, you give it a name. When you hit save, that item, it'll show up right away in the sound control panel, but also in the sound picker, you have at the top my music and my voiceovers. And so what you just recorded will now show up there, so you could actually use that voiceover in other slides or even in other projects, because that now becomes a piece of content that's just part of your account. But back here over in the slide, now if I play the slide. Hi, this is me. I'm working on my computer, and I really hope that giant Pac-Man doesn't come and bite my head off. All right. So you heard there that the music, I think, was a little loud. My voice was a little soft. So I might come in here and reduce the sound of the music down and try it again just to get a good balance between the two. You can listen to each one by itself. It does give you the option right here of listening to them together. Hi, this is me. I'm working on my computer, and I really hope that giant Pac-Man doesn't come and bite my head off. So that you can set your levels right there without having to play the slide. That's a nice little tool to have. You can have an entire Powtoon voiceover and a current slide voiceover at the same time. I don't know why you would want to do that, because obviously the two voiceovers would overlap each other, but Powtoon does not eliminate that option. So if you're trying to creatively maybe layer in different audios, you do essentially have three places you can drop an audio in. The only difference in the entire Powtoon between the voiceover and music, the voiceover will only play once. So even if your voiceover is shorter than your slideshow, it won't loop it. With the music, it will loop the music until your slideshow is done. All right, so that's essentially it in terms of sound. You've got three places, three containers where you can put sound into your Powtoon. Two of them will play across your entire Powtoon. One will only play during a current slide. You can use music and sounds from their library. You can also add your own music and voiceovers by uploading them. So if you have a particular piece of music or a particular voiceover you've recorded somewhere else, you can add those into your music and voiceovers and use them. And you also have the option of creating a voiceover right within Powtoon by using their record function and saving the recordings that you make. So that should give you enough to play around with this. The next step will be for you to try this out if you have not already, particularly maybe the voiceover aspect of it, and give that a shot. And then if you have questions, make sure to contact me about those questions. I'll leave a place on the Moodle for any questions from this week's work, and we can go from there. But enjoy, and I'll follow this up with a short video about transitions.